Austin home prices are down over 20% from the 2022 peak. Active listings just dropped 15% year over year, and pending sales are up 15.4%. If you've been on the fence about investing in Austin, the data is telling you something. Today, I'm walking you through the four strategies that are actually working right now in this market. The real numbers, real submarkets, and no hype. I'm Jordan Moorhead with the Moorhead team at Keller Williams Realty here in Austin. I own dozens of rental units myself, and we specialize in investor deals, house hacks, buy and holds, short-term rentals, and this is what we do every day. Let's get into it. First, let me give you the market context because the opportunity in Austin right now is specific. You need to understand why it exists and where it exists. At the peak, May 2022, the median home price in Austin was around 550,000. Today it's 440,000. That's a 20% correction. Average days on market are 67. The close to list price ratio is 94.3%, meaning buyers are routinely negotiating real discounts. And we're seeing discounts way higher than that. People are getting distressed properties. At the same time, this is the part that matters for investors, pending sales just came in up 15.4% year over year. That means buyer demand is returning, but prices haven't recovered yet. And I think you've got at least a few months, maybe a year before they start to even flatten out or go the other way. The gap is returning demand, compressed prices. It's where the opportunity lives. That combination doesn't stick around forever. The fundamentals underneath this market are very strong. Austin Metro grew 2.1% last year. Tesla, Apple, Oracle, Meta all have major Austin operations. They're talking about building a Terafab right outside of Austin. They're talking about building more SpaceX and Boring Company in Austin. Tesla's expanding like crazy. Tech job creation here is still outpacing the national average, and we have a lot of AI companies coming in. You're not buying into a market in a structural decline. You're buying into a market with fundamentally strong growth patterns. House hacking is my number one recommendation for most first-time Austin investors and even people looking to build a portfolio. It's genuinely one of the best setups available right now. Here's the concept. You buy a duplex, a property with an ADU, or a home with multiple rooms that you're not going to be using. You live in one unit, you rent out the rest of it. That's a simple house hack. You live in one, you rent out the rest. Your tenant covers a significant portion of your mortgage, and when you move out, that becomes rental income for you. In the Austin market right now, on the right property, you can structure this where a tenant is covering $1,500 to $2,000 of your monthly payment. You're buying a 20% discount from peak prices. You're using owner-occupied financing, look 3.5% to 5% down. That's a lower down payment. That's better rates than you're going to get with investor financing, a full percentage point lower. And you're living for dramatically below what it would cost to even buy in Austin. A lot of times you can live for cheaper than rent, which is going to go up here in the near future. Where to look for this stuff? East Austin has really high rental demand and high appreciation potential. Round Rock and Pflugerville have better cash flow right now and a lower entry price. Both submarkets work, but it depends on what you're looking for. I also really like the South Austin area too. The real risk, you're living next door to your tenant. It's not that bad. You just set the right expectations. I never once had a tenant knock on my door. So the biggest risk is that you're living next door to somebody where you're the landlord. Not a huge risk. You need to screen these tenants seriously, though, and understand what a landlord is obligated to do here in Texas, which is a very landlord-friendly state. But as a wealth-building entry point, the math right now is the best I've seen for a long time. Buy and hold is a foundational long-term strategy that everybody has interested in getting into. You buy a rental property, you collect rent, you let the appreciation compound over time. In Austin right now, the key about this is submarket selection. Where I'd be looking, Round Rock, Kyle, Georgetown. Why? Inventory is higher there than other submarkets, which means you have more negotiating power. Prices are more compressed relative to the peak in places like Central Austin. Rents aren't that far off, and they've held off really well compared to where the purchase price is. So it means the rent to price ratio is better in those areas than it's been in years. Williamson County, which is Round Rock, Georgetown, is the tightest submarket in the metro right now, with lower months of inventory than the rest of the city core. These places have great schools. They have bigger, better price to rent ratio. You get more for your money out there. You can find the right deal there. You're buying into a submarket with strong demand and less price weakness than some of the other areas in Austin. But run the numbers before you buy. After mortgage, taxes, insurance, property management, if you're going to use it, reserve for maintenance. Is the property cash flowing? If it's not, don't buy it. If you're buying purely on appreciation, it's speculation. And the property is going to be likely to appreciate, but you just don't want to bet on that stuff. That's a totally different risk profile. We're not speculating here, we're investing. In Austin right now, you can actually find deals that's pencils, especially Austin Metro. But you have to be really detailed and intentional about this and make sure you're getting the right deal and not buying something on appreciation. That's silly. Don't do that. Again, I can't say that enough. Here's the biggest risk: vacancies and unexpected capex. Budget 10% on rent for maintenance and repairs minimum. Don't assume the property is going to be perfect. Things break when you own real estate. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance. This is how refinance repeat. This is how I built a lot of my portfolio. And this is how you build a portfolio faster than buying properties one at a time with all of your own money. The concept: you buy a distressed property at a discount, rehab it to force appreciation, rent it out, then do cash out refinance at the new appraised value. You could pull out all of or most of your money or the investor's money that you borrowed it from and roll it into the next deal. So you can use private money here. You can buy the property with private money. You can do the whole BRRRR strategy. You can refinance out, get that person their money back, your investor their money back, or your lender their money back, and then go do it again. You can do this with very little to none of your own money if you do it right. In Austin right now, the opportunity for BRRRR is better than it's been in years. Why? Because there's sellers that are in real distress and they need to move. They can't do those repairs to their properties before they sell. These people are willing to sell at a discount. If you come in and you offer good terms, we're going to close fast and cash, doesn't have to be your cash. You're going to close fast and cash. That's when you can really good deals. You have access to distressed and motivated sellers in a way you didn't in Austin for a long time. Where to look the most for this? It's the same markets we talked about earlier that are a little distressed because there's more inventory. Outer submarkets like Kyle, Buda, Bastrop, there's more inventory here and there's more seller flexibility and need. Older neighborhoods with older homes in East Austin where you can find meaningful value through renovation are also great. And what you really need here is a reliable contractor relationship. This is everything with the BRRRR strategy. Your rehab budget and timeline is your real risk, and contractors who run long or over budget will kill your deal. You also need a lender who will do these cash out refinances quickly and with no problems. Map that out before you buy. Understand how you're going to refinance. Understand how you're going to fix up the property. This is the real risk in BRRRR investing. We have all these people if you need them, so just reach out. And where you can really win or where you can really lose on the BRRRR strategy is the appraisal. The appraisal has to support the refinance. If the ARV, the after repair value, doesn't come in where you projected, you can't pull your capital back out and the whole cycle stalls. So make sure you understand what the real ARV is and use a realtor who has access to real data so they can help you understand that before you go buy a property from a wholesaler, rehab it, and then find out it's worth 100 grand less than you thought. Seeing that happen, I don't want it to happen to you. You want to make sure you buy right and your rehab numbers need to be dialed in here. Airbnb and short-term rentals are one of the best strategies right now too. This is a strategy with the highest upside and the most variables. This is more of a business, but let me give you the honest version of what's going on here. In the right location, short-term rentals dramatically outperform long-term rents. South Congress, East Austin, properties New Barton Springs, spots that are walkable to restaurants and music, places that have a pool. These are genuine STR rentals that make sense. We've helped clients set up Airbnbs in Austin that gross $50,000 to $70,000 a year on properties that would long-term rent for less than $30,000 a year. But here's what you need to know first. Austin has short-term rental regulations. You need to pull the current rules for the specific area of the property you're looking at before you buy it. You need to know the licensing requirements, owner occupancy rules, and zoning. All this stuff matters. STR regulations in Austin have changed a lot here recently. So make sure you're looking at up-to-date information and just call the city. They're super easy to deal with and they're very helpful. Model your income conservatively. Don't assume you're getting 80 to 90% occupancy. Use a service like AirDNA to understand this and what occupancy and rental rates look like. A realistic first-year projection for a well-set-up SDR in a good location is probably 55% occupancy. You got to run the numbers at that level, see if the deal still works. Here's the real risk to regulation changes and saturation. So we're going through another cycle of regulation in Austin changing. What's happened, a lot of SDR markets nationally, it's gotten harder to operate as the cities have tightened rules, as places have gotten oversaturated. Austin is still viable, but you need to stay current on local policy and really understand what's going on. Here's how I think about it. If you're a first-time buyer or first-time investor in Austin, house hack. Lower barrier to entry, owner-occupied financing, and a built-in wealth building engine from day one. If you have capital and want long-term passive income, buy and hold in Round Rock, Kyle, or Georgetown, you're going to get better returns and strong fundamentals. If you want to build a portfolio faster and you're experienced in construction and rehab, go for the BRRRR strategy. The distressed seller opportunity is very real right now. If you own in and can buy in East Austin, South Congress, or high demand tourist adjacent area, look at short-term rentals. It's going to be a little more money up front, but if you've got that business acumen to run a business and you're interested in providing great experience for people, you're really going to enjoy it and you're going to make a lot of money. Here's the thing. The window for optimal conditions in Austin isn't permanent. Pending sales are up 15.4% the last 2 months. Active inventory seems to be contracting month over month. Let's see if that continues. Buyers and investors that can act in the next 6 months are going to look back on this window and be happy they made the decision. It's not hype. That's what the data says. You want us to help you understand what's going on in the Austin real estate market? Reach out. We would always love to help. We're active investors here. We see what other investors are doing. We run the biggest investor meetup in town, and we have all the data. Reach out to us here, jordan.moorhead@kw.com, or you can call or text anytime, 512-888-9122. We'll give you the no BS answer, and we'll tell you the truth. Drop a comment below. Which of these 4 strategies are you most interested in? I read every reply. Subscribe for weekly deal walkthroughs, understanding what's going on with the Austin market, house hacking tutorials, Austin investor information. I'm Jordan Moorhead. We'll see you on the next one.